All rise. The pod is now in session on 1/3 of the trio. This is your boy Big Bear. Welcome to another episode. How's everybody doing? What's going on? We know what the weekend is.
The Supreme Court Basketball Podcast. We thank y'all for tuning in again. I am Henri, the eldest of the trio.
Chris.
And we got
Baby
Chris.
in the bunch.
Here we go.
You already know me. I'm the third, rolling in on third. Big Bear.
Child.
What's happening? What's happening?
Oh, man. We back at it. How y'all doing?
I'm just getting through on these few hours of sleep. Had a good time last night at Dre Day LA, 10th anniversary. Man, it was live, man. That was that was a good time. A good time was definitely had, man. We got my hip hop fans, DJ Battlecat, legendary West Coast producer, DJ J Rock, even had an appearance too. Man, even had an appearance from DJ High Tech, another lauded producer in hip hop. If y'all know about that, it was just great, man. It was good vibes. Definitely a West Coast deal. It was a cool night. It was dope, man. Yeah. I really enjoyed that. But it was worth not sleeping all night. You know what I mean?
Say it. Listen, at this age, the fact that you stayed up is like, what?
Yeah, and having to drive way to Echo Park, you know what I mean? From where I'm at.
Oh, that's where it was? Oh,
yeah.
Echo Place.
It was an Echo Place, yeah.
Sense.
Echo Park. That shit was, I wish the parking situation was a little bit better, but, we got through it. It ain't the... you got to be careful because it ain't the most savory neighborhood in the world, but it ain't the worst either. But you late night in Echo Park, it can go left real quick.
Could be in the
back alley. You know what I'm saying?
Depending on the day, for sure. Well, at least that was lit because what wasn't was this All-Star game tonight. Boy. I don't know, guys. Is it the death of the All-Star game? I know they switched the format up. If you guys didn't get a chance to check it out, we went to a new format where there were 4 teams total, single elimination with a finals, and it just felt like a slow burn to the same All-Star game. A bunch of threes getting jacked up. I could have skipped this. I almost could have just skipped the All-Star game this year. Like it just didn't do. To be honest, the last good All-Star game to me was right after we lost Kobe. That was the one where it was like, that was competitive. They did a little something different, but I think there was such a height and an emphasis on honoring him that the way they played and competed left us with something. But these last few, I mean, what was the saving? Matt McClung did his thing, in terms of the dunk contest. That was probably a highlight. But beyond that, I could have skipped this weekend. I'm to the point where if they got rid of it, it would not bother me. I'd rather have the players rest and compete than watch this. What about y'all?
You ain't the onlyest one, but that's becoming a recurring theme, man. That is becoming a recurring theme about the NBA in general. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, we've had these conversations way too many times. Like, it's the All-Star game, but in all fairness, though, All-Star games are a hard sell for all sports because it's an exhibitionary game. It doesn't mean anything. In baseball, for a while, it at least had some implications for whoever won the game in each respective league, whether it be National or American League team. You might get home field advantage in the World Series, something like that, which was kind of crazy that you an advantage in the World Series would hinge on an All-Star game. That was kind of crazy, but it makes it competitive at the very least, which in baseball is kind of. You don't. I'm not sure how you. I mean, I guess you can half-ass in baseball too. You cannot run the bases properly. You cannot, chase balls down. But the implications in the NBA are insignificant. It doesn't mean anything. It's just another game on the schedule. Like, at least it's treated as such. So,
and the players feel like they're penalized. I think that's the one thing that you keep looking at is like, while this group is in Cancun or in Miami or overseas, I'm in Barbados or whatever the case may be, the players who actually make it are like, I would have rather been resting. Or, you get images of Paul George on a boat, you know what I mean, chilling, where it's like, that actually looks pretty good at $221 million and not playing very well as a team. You get to chill, and I'm out here with all the festivities, yes, but I don't know, Bear. I know we've been talking, but the anger. I'm over it. I'm over it.
Yeah, the anger that I'm filled with behind that trash, man. Please listen. This goes right along with just the theme of the season. Just a whole lot of trash going on.
Man.
This I couldn't. I don't know if they're going to have to go back to East and West, and they'll, the winner splits like a $5 million pot, go back to that whole thing.
More money.
Even though, right. I don't think that's going to be. I mean, we always knew that All-Star game was them kind of take it easy first half, and midway through the third, they're going to start picking it up and going into the fourth quarter because we actually do want to win. But that is not even the case anymore. It's like when I saw them missing like uncontested layups with just
right, but hitting half-court shots,
straight ushered them to the rim. Like, please go ahead, and you still miss it. When I saw Kyrie Irving blow it, I said, "Yeah, bro." Y'all that's when I knew like the energy, like I could care less how bad I look in front of everybody else. But the money I don't know what the money is for the tickets, but if I was one of those ticket man, please. Come on now.
Up through the roof. When it was here a couple of years ago, I looked and the cheapest seat I found was like $3,000. That was the 300 section.
No, ain't no way.
At Staples Center.
Yes, I'm after
3,000, and that was just for the All-Star game itself. So for y'all who are not LA natives, not familiar, 300 section, if you stretch good enough, you'll be touching that Canadian flag for about $3,000 at the top of the stadium.
No doubt.
After this
count LA Kings jerseys.
I'd have to see somebody getting their feet whipped. I'm sorry, something got to happen. Like, we're gonna have to see more of this. I just couldn't believe that they put that out there, and you could tell, like. You'll see the commentary. You see those guys, the color guys. Everybody's trying to liven it up because that's their job to do. But it wasn't there. I looked at Shaq's face, and it was just like, I just got to be here. Like it wasn't nothing more to it.
Even that's commentary from Kevin Hart during the game was like, "Come on, he tried to bring some jokes in, and it none of it just."
You know what? All-Star Weekend used to be
tried to sell it, so I give him an A for effort, but it just wasn't there.
And I agree. He missed the mark. It didn't work. It wasn't going to happen. But you remember how all the All-Star game used to be the star-studded weekend, not just the game, but the whole weekend. Everybody used to come. It's starting to seem like the NBA the NBA isn't the cool kids. You know what I mean? Like, we're okay. I can watch it at home. It's looking so bad that even though it's an exhibition game, I could care less. Honestly, I forgot it was on until I turned the TV on and was skipping through some channels. If it wasn't for that, I forgot because maybe the format, because when I looked online, when on ESPN.com, you see the first game and then you see the second and then you see this like culmination to be determined depending on who wins out of each game. 40 points, trash, man.
We're getting teams putting up 40 points in a quarter now. So
it's the race to 40. How fun is that?
The great 3-point race. It was like, I'm gonna jack this up, and if we can get to 40 before you, good. If not, like, I didn't want to play the next game anyway. Like, that's how some of them guys are playing. Like, I did not want to play the next game. I played my half, so to speak, and I'm good. I want to spectate.
Let me ask you guys this: for players who are voted in, who aren't injured, should they be mandated to play the All-Star game? If you were voted into an All-Star game, should NBA governors, owners, really is what we're talking about, and the commissioner, should they mandate players to play in the All-Star game if they were voted in? If they're available, at least.
Hell yeah. Because
I think so.
Because for the fans.
It is a fanfare. Most people can't even afford to go see you live. So this is the one time where it's like I get a collection of my favorite players all in one place. The problem is you can see the players are not happy about being there. You know what I mean? A lot of people are like, this is a rest and relaxation weekend because not only do you get the All-Star weekend, you get the next couple of days. People have to fly back and everything. So you don't have games for a day or two following the game. So I think a lot of people, hey, this is just an extended weekend. We're going to Cancun. We're in Mexico somewhere chilling, or we're in Bahamas, wherever they choose to go. Just with I'm just going to take the family for a couple of days because it's so rare that I can do so. So it's almost like you can see the players trying to be, and we keep hearing about how the league is talking to them about making this an experience and everything. But at that point, you selling me on playing the game that I'm love to play and paid to play, it's like, well, that's weird. You got to bring me in and give me a stern talk to be like, hey, there's a lot riding on this game. It's like, no, it's not.
But what can you do? Like, what do you think you can do? Because I'm trying to understand.
And that's the thing. That's the hardest part, Bear. I don't know at this point, because the All-Star game to point we've all made is like, it's a mentality. And we all knew, okay, everything is fun and games first quarter for sure. Let's get a center bringing the ball up. Let's get a guard in the post, and all right, cool, ha ha ha. In the second quarter, all right, cool, y'all made a couple of shots. We can't get too far down. Go to halftime, come back. Third quarter, all right, juice is flowing a little bit more. Everybody's loose, having a good time. But that last 3-4 minutes of third quarter, it's like, all right, he hit 2 shots. I'm going for MVP now. And you just see it gradually pick up to where you get some of these classic games right at the end, East versus West. West is loaded, but East ends up taking it. I remember those games where you got, Vince Carter, hey, Jordan, yeah, I got voted in, but you take it. And, some of these games end up being really good games. Magic when he came back, so there are times when it's like, okay, this gets rolling. And, is it truly a full game? No. But we had enough moments to where we got excited. This was not exciting at all. None of these games were exciting, even though one of them was close. It's 40 points. Then you bring out, halftime seeing the tribute to the Bay with E40, too short. Loved it. That's nice. But in terms of the game, I literally could have skipped this. And that pains me to say, as somebody who absolutely loves basketball, I could have skipped this. I would rather watch. I had more fun watching NC versus NC State women's basketball.
Oh yeah, that was a close one.
That was a good game. That game and was like, yeah, this was much better than what I just saw.
Again, we'll be discussing it at some point, I'm sure, because women's basketball, in all respects, is kind of overtaking the men's game, whether it's collegiate or at the professional level, which is kind of crazy. I mean, because it's far more competitive. There is they're driven. If the All-Star game, if the players had the mentality, if nothing else, just to be the MVP, you got guys gunning for MVP for that game.
Yeah,
that would make it fun. Because there have been All-Star games where you just get like an additional slam dunk contest within the game. Guys are out there trying to show out. Especially guys who may not be as well known. They want to make a name for themselves in that game.
Yeah.
In case you can know who I was, this is who I am.
Get that.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't even get that. Yeah, but now you got it's no reason Steph Curry should be. I mean, listen, it's only fitting being that it is in San Francisco. Fine, I get it.
Say you always get the local guy trying to get the MVP.
You got to show off for his crowd. Yeah, why would you not?
Yeah.
But I get that.
This is a moment like. I hate that these young guys don't recognize the opportunity for them to make a name for themselves. Like this is your time, if nothing else.
Yeah. Especially all the hype was about LeBron, and he didn't even play. So that was another thing where it's like you didn't get to see LeBron, Steph, KD on the same floor. That was last minute. So
one thing I know for certain, this new format ain't it. That I can tell you.
Oh yeah, no,
that ain't it, Chief.
But it hasn't. The sad part is, it just hasn't been what it needed to be, period, for some time. And and switching up the format, I don't think, and I understand Silver, what he was trying to do. He's trying to reignite some type of a different look, and maybe it would have reignited some type of energy, but it did not do it at all. And to that point, you saw previously too, and you know what? Bravo to the women's that backed out. Like, nah, we ain't going to enjoy the festivities. We're not going to be a part of it. We're not going to mix in because that's lending our energy to your cause and your purpose. And I would love to see the women's, kind of take advantage of this because, like you said, they're still hungry. They haven't, from a contractual standpoint, they're nowhere near the level of the men. So they're still fighting for their piece of the pie, which is going to give, way to more competitiveness, better games, and taking advantage of every piece that they have. You're starting to see, like you said, Juju Watkins, you see is it the State Farm guy? She had the commercial and everything with Juju. They're starting to do it. Yeah. I've been waiting for them to do this. The NBA, and so right now, it's like, the players, and I think that's a thing too. The players are taking advantage of, us as just being fans and what we pay for. Like never take into account that those tickets cost. That costs a lot of money, but people are paying for them because they want to be entertained. And you guys are taking it like, just like they're so nonchalant about it. Like, yeah, we're here. It's good enough that you see me. You see me come out, come from the back and walk through and be like, they called my number and you able to cheer me on. That should be good enough. They're not trying to say which, that's how the Iversons and the Kobe's were like, I'm going to put on a show for the fans. At the very least, you know what? It's one thing to say you weren't competitive, but you guys weren't flashy either. It wasn't oohs and ahs.
At the very least, right?
Like, we didn't get that. Like, off the backboard, throw to nobodies. We didn't get nice lobs. We didn't get nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't even mind.
It was 3-point fest.
Man, no, this was more like layup line and the warm-ups. This was bad. Right. This was bad. I mean, I haven't checked the numbers, the views and everything, but this is going to be so controversial. This is going to be just as controversial, shall I say, like another sport, like, the halftime show for the NFL. So controversial. This, like, it's that, and not saying that Kendrick or anything was bad, but it was a lot of controversy behind it. But this controversy is we're going to all talk about how bad it's, like, we've reached, dare I say, like an all-time low in the NBA when it comes to All-Stars, the All-Star game. It's that, I couldn't believe they put that product out there like that. And it does, I mean, shame on them too for not thinking about the people, that came before them. And just that was an honor to be considered an all-star. And they're taking it with a grain of salt, and the actions reflect that. I'm sorry, maybe I'm an old head. I'm speaking like an old head, but come on now. We all have to be in agreement. There's no way some young fella even thought that was entertaining by the stretch of the imagination. Like I said, we didn't see it. It should have been like some video game stuff at the very least. Straight video game, crossing over, throwing up, doing some of the most extreme, outlandish things that you would do in the game. Hell, I would have loved to see a grip of travels and all these new Euro steps that they come up with. Like, is this a travel? I take 2 steps, pause from the pivot. I would love to see anything but what I had seen, about 2 hours ago. That was so trashy. I'm telling you, I still can't believe that they put that on the court like that. Bruh.
I came away with more questions than anything. One main question I had was, is this the result of lack of marketable players and them not playing when available? I had a ton of questions. That was the first one that came into mind. Like, this is the NBA. We talked about this earlier, guys. Like, who are the marketable players who are poised to lead the next generation of the NBA? Like, who is the next face? Like, first of all, I mean, you need the box office appeal first and foremost. They seem to lack that without LeBron James. You still got Steph Curry, but he's probably the most, and Kevin Durant are probably the most recognizable names on the court.
Yeah.
Everybody else, if you're a casual, you know, who's the dude with the braids and a red uniform? Who's the, I mean, it's a whole bunch of who's who and the wrong kind of who's
Donovan
who.
Mitchell,
right?
As good as he is,
but as good as he is, right?
In Cleveland, you might.
Is it a matter of the market? I mean, I don't know. Is that part of the problem? I mean, well, and does LeBron even move the needle if he plays tonight? Like, does it matter much?
I think he still garnered some type of fanship and fandom behind his name, which that says a lot about the league, because you remember there was a time where the starters were all superstars, like not 2-3 superstars and the guys who were all stars. There was a time where all stars you were the backup, but there were full-fledged superstars starting. You had, you think about that.
Like a Carmelo Anthony, Iverson, KG.
Iverson, KG, you had Kobe, Dwight Howard, you
Kobe,
still had
Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire.
Wow. You think about it.
It was truly
T-Mac. You had full-fledged, not all-stars, superstars playing in there.
And it lived up to the name All-Star Game. Day. It was star-studded. Definitely.
Yeah.
Now again, like, you got who's the who's who of basketball, but the wrong kind of who's who. It's literally like, who is that? It's not the who's who, But so that was the first question I had: is it a lack of marketable stars, or because the one thing we don't know, at least me, I haven't looked at any data or any stats. I'm not sure how well it performed internationally on the world stage. Maybe it did better there, right? You hope so. Because I keep hearing like, well, we're talking about from our vantage point as Americans, how basketball is suffering, the ratings are sliding, it's bad, the game isn't, the product is terrible, it's hard to sell. But you also hear the counter is like, well, that's because y'all are in America. You're thinking about the American market. If you look abroad and outside the American purview, you find that the NBA is actually thriving. I'm not sure how true that is, if that's just NBA propaganda to make us feel hopeful about the future of the league. I don't know. But maybe
the question
it's tracking well outside of the U.S. I don't know.
If that's the case, can the NBA survive without American? Without American superstars? If this becomes just Luka, Giannis, Jokic, will the league be able to sustain us? You know what I mean? And if you ask me right now, no. You're going to need an Ant-Man. You're going to need a couple of these guys to come along. You're going to need Ja to get it together. You're going to have to wait for the next. Yeah, Cooper Flag will be nice, but if we don't have those guys, I don't know that you're going to be able to get away with that on a. I don't know if the global audience will be able to supersede what we see here, because great, the numbers are going there, and yes, there's no argument. If you ever thought, European players, international players were so far behind, them days are over.
Oh, far gone.
Fundamentally, they're better. They literally they capitalized on having actual basketball schools, academies, where like the focal point is the basketball, where you are in an environment where you can thrive and play. The other thing they have that we've kind of lost is a true sense of pride. Some of these guys would much rather win an Olympic gold with their countrymen than an NBA championship, and that's just how they go. And so, that's where I'm like,
Jokic. I'm looking at it. So for the last, I want to say about 15 years, viewership has been around 7 million. But if you look at it, it used to be at one point. We can go back from the 90s. We're looking at 13 million, 10 million, 18 million, 22 million views, all the way up until, let's say, 2000, and it started to go down, and we started hitting 5s, 8s. We really had a drop off. Picked back up, I want to say around, Jesus, it was bad. I mean, we've been at like the 7 million in 2003 in Atlanta. We picked up, went back to 10 million, 8, and then we've been at like a steady diet of like 7.5, 7.6 million.
That's interesting. So could you even argue the emergence of the international game is actually why ratings are down?
Because
here in the States, you mean globally, or as a
in the States, because you're going to want to see your fellow countrymen and everything, but for us.
Yeah, I think the appeal as Americans isn't as attractive.
Yeah.
Like straight up. Like, I'm be honest with you. Because
so
I mean, as Americans, we can be.
They were in
or you saying
double digits. I'm sorry. 2003 was the last time they were about over in double digits in views. They were about 10.8.
And we ain't tracking like Nielsen ratings and stuff. I don't even know how to read
No.
that. Yeah.
But it's been a drop off. It's been, a major drop off. They kind of picked up in 2011, 9 million. That was in LA, of course, and that makes sense. I think that may play a role too. The markets in which you go in. We like to give everybody a chance, but
you got a point though.
Now you're sitting here in Indiana, like,
okay.
Yeah. Right. Salt Lake City was 23. That was 4.5 million.
Certainly, a place you don't want to have an All-Star game, man.
Wow. And that was team. I just think I think you're onto something. I think that when we think about the All-Star game, the expectations were never just high like it was Western Conference Finals or the playoffs. But we knew what we were getting. We knew what the first half versus the second half was going to be. And I think that it is a marketing issue. We had this, conversation before we started, we got on. And we have to recognize that there's no true face. That's why they're still milking the LeBron. That's why it's hurtful that LeBron did not play, because they're still using him. He's still like the de facto face of the NBA at 40 plus years of age. That's the problem. Him, KD, Steph, And obviously, Steph was going to, do his best because it's in his own, home court basically. So it made sense that he was going to go ahead and have fun with it. But overall, when you think about it, the top 10 guys, we're looking at foreign. You think about
Easily.
It, but even out of them, we've been blessed, as fans in the NBA at large, that we've had guys with some type of personality, or they had something to them. Jordan, Kobe, the Mamba mentality, Jordan in that Bulls run, the Lakers, which Kobe didn't have to be necessarily so, open with his personality because he was still on the Lakers, still had Shaq. The Lakers, the organization and everything carried him until later when he started to open up and become this Kobe that people have come to recognize in the latter stages of his career. So when I'm looking at it now, and we talked about the Zion, who it was gift wrap for him, coming out of college, coming from Duke, a guy his size jumping out the gym and excitement and what they were expecting out of him. Even we got a sample size of it too. And that was another thing. So you saw what he could have been. And the league was just like, oh yeah, we got us another one. And we thought the transition was going to be a smooth transition into possibly the Zion era. And it never materialized. It didn't happen, and it's never going to happen.
How I would have loved for a Duke Blue Devil to be the face of the league, man.
Yeah, but they did, man. For what we know the reasons why. He couldn't push that plate from his face, and here we are. I don't see that it's going to ever happen for him. I don't care if you put him in a different setting. I just don't think at this stage in his career and the injuries that he sustained and his health will allow him to be what he think he could still be, or other organizations think. So when you look at that, we thought even at one point, remember, we thought the Greek Freak was going to be the face, but part of that, I think, comes with dominance. And I don't think that there's going to be a consistent dominant player or team that's going to consistent, because you think about it, Jordan and the Bulls was a whole era. They were winning championships on top of that. Kobe, we can have the conversation about he had Shaq. Nonetheless, Kobe we're talking about 1A and 1B. I mean, let's be real. At that stage, by the second, third championship. So you're in an organization like the Lakers. We're winning and we three-peated. Everything's all great. And then you move into a little bit of gap. LeBron James comes in on the tail end, like midway through Kobe's career, as he's still trying to transition. But he ended up taking the reins, and we see what LeBron had done. There was nobody. And then in mix of that, so you still had Steph Curry, had the KDs and everything, but there's no one now that's going to be that dominant force that you can see as far as American born players. That could be Luka, but still not American born players. And I think that matters. It matters to me.
It's weird. It's weird because if you look at let's go back to 2010. This is the starting lineup for the 2010 All-Star game.
Man.
East, right? At guard, Allen Iverson.
Already we starting off with fire. Cooking.
Shooting guard, Dwayne Wade.
Oh, shit.
Small forward, LeBron James.
Right there. That's just
power forward, Kevin Garnett.
Man.
Center,
all-time greats.
Dwight Howard.
Hall of Famers. Just keep going.
Western starters, right? West All-Star team starters. At one guard, Steve Nash.
Wow.
Second guard, Kobe Bryant.
Man.
Small forward, Carmelo Anthony. Power forward, Tim Duncan.
Jeez.
Center, Amari Stoudemire.
Jeez.
Man.
I mean,
it's
you
hard
look
to
at
stack
that.
up against that. In all fairness, you know what I mean. It's impossible to stack up.
But we're saying
this is why we're spoiled. This is why this is so difficult for us. You look the year before that: Allen Iverson again, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Kevin Garnett, Dwight Howard. For the West, Chris Paul, Kobe Bryant, Amari Stoudemire, Tim Duncan, Yao Ming.
Wow!
Okay,
there's nothing that feels like that. You know what I mean?
Remotely.
Where you're going, because your All-Star games, it was part of the subplot was who's going to be MVP. These guys were competing against the other team and themselves. All right, he put up a 3. I got to get one down myself.
Well, because to say that you won an MVP amongst that group, that says something. But see, this is what I would ask you guys. Have we been spoiled by the NBA behind storylines? I'm talking about as far as storylines, because think about it. In addition to that, you still had in the background are we going to see the meeting finally of these two in the finals? Because you knew that was to come we were hoping for the Kobe LeBron thing. It never happened, but
we were robbed.
We were robbed. Man, yeah. But nonetheless, we still had another team emerge, though. You got to, Golden State emerged, and we didn't see that coming, but it was like we knew for that 3-4 year period, even 5 year period, it's going to be them two fighting for it. You know what I mean? Or at least Golden State.
Yeah, but
there's, what I mean?
Even amongst those stars that I just named, they were punched in annually for years. Like 2012, the only change in that lineup was your starting guard was Derrick Rose with Dwayne Wade, LeBron James,
and even
Carmelo
Anthony. It's Derrick Rose.
Dwight Howard. Right.
D Rose, man. But
you had, and on the West, the only real changes you had that year, you had Chris Paul, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin, Andrew Bynum.
You know what? I think too.
He's a bit of an outlier in that, but
right. He's definitely an outlier in that bunch. But even to that point, it's the height of Lakers. It goes to your point of like, there is still this moment in time where these guys are just cranking it out. If you look 2013, Chris Paul, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin, Dwight Howard, same players. They're just jumping to different conferences. 2013, Rajon Rondo, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant. 2014, Steph Curry, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin, Kevin Love, Carmelo Anthony, Paul George, LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Dwayne Wade. Like that cycle, you just look over that 5 year period and it's like,
ain't much, but that's what made it even more like an honor, because the fact that I made it to even, let's just say, be on the bench with these guys. I made it to play with these guys. I'm going to get a little bit of time and be on the same floor as these, at this point, those guys were well established. I think, but that's the difference too. A lot of those guys who you're talking about, Chris, they came into the league and it didn't take long before they started to make an impact. A lot of those guys you saw, it didn't take, you kind of knew, like, okay, Melo and them, like, yeah, they're going to be something.
Yeah, you knew, I was a huge Melo fan coming out the game. I remember, so much so that I was
on Melo, I remember, who really
the way this dude moves at this size and this weight, he was almost like the prequel to Zion. Because he wasn't nearly as big, but the way he was able to get off the floor for as big as he was, coupled with the fact that he could shoot, coupled with the fact that a post move was still something that he had, I was like, this dude, if anything, these two should be co-rookie of the year. I was on that train, and to this day, I think Melo could have been co-rookie with Bron. Like you'd almost argue he had a better rookie season. I was sitting there like, you guys are. I get it. We're crowning him, and he's living up to the hype. But at the same time, Team Melo was a real thing for me for sure.
Yeah, you definitely. Did Melo go to the playoffs his rookie season? He led them to the playoffs, didn't he? I want to say.
I believe so.
Yeah. I want to say that Melo was nice. You definitely knew he was coming. Yeah. He definitely put the league on notice. But again, see when you mentioned those rosters, like I mentioned earlier, that was the good who's who of NBA superstars. Like there were enough stars back then to make an entire constellation. Now you just got a couple of isolated stars in the sky. You know what I mean? It's like very LeBron. True. Like we're 25 years into the 21st century, and we're still talking about LeBron, Ramon James. What are we doing? Like, we got to find a replacement. The closest thing we got to the face of the league is Giannis. I can't think of anybody else in terms of, like, star power, popularity. Maybe Luka. I'm not sure. Like, I've never seen him like any major.
Ant-Man, I think, is coming along.
Yeah. You think so?
There's some things that have to change, but he seems to be more popular than Giannis.
But it's still not enough to make. It's still not to feel like Cup. It's you got maybe about three.
It came with dominance. There was a time when those names were synonymous with dominance and championships. You know what I mean? Like when you say Kobe, we know Lakers 5-time. You understand what I'm saying? Like it came with that. Jordan, Magic, LeBron, Steph, KD got up in there. they came with a period of dominance. You know what I mean? That is not necessarily. I think that we have to stop looking at it from that view and saying, because Giannis already won one. He went on a great run when he won the championship, but the sustaining of that as far as team and being in it in the finals, I think that's another thing that we've been spoiled, because there's always been a dominant team. There's always been, a dominant player who's regarded as the best player on the best team, or up there with the best team that's always going to be competing for championships. And we don't see that. And in the All-Star, except for, I guess like I said, even with considered the Luka trade, we hope that they win championships. But that move, we have to see what all that entails as far as, bringing people on and how we draft, how we do, the trades, all that. But so we were just, we're hoping. We're still talking about we hope. Think about it, as big as some of these players have been, Luka, and we talk about the Giannis's and so on, all these foreign players and Wemby coming along, we still can't put our finger on it. We hope that goes ahead and becomes the next great American player, but that's so up in the air, because part of that, man, the guys, obviously LeBron, and before that, Kobe and Jordan and all these other, great players, all-time greats, they want it to be great. And I don't know if championships matter like that anymore. So part of the issue was these guys wanted to, outdo Jordan. That's the standard 6, right? Because before that was Magic, and that's the reason why Jordan won the 6, because he wanted to beat Magic so he can claim that, like, hey, I got one more. Yeah. And everybody was chasing that. I don't know if these guys, and part of it comes from, I don't know if this that Gilbert Arenas mentality was like, what's more? What do I want more? A MVP or a championship. Like Kobe, as great as many, he had MVPs. It wouldn't meant nothing in his career if he couldn't have a championship. I always say, everybody like, well, that's the end of it. No, listen, you play the game to win at the highest level. You want to win that. And, well, what if my career don't, like, nah, see, that Gilbert Arenas mentality, I think, is starting to catch wave, and I'm not with that. And this is where you start to get the players where it's about me, me, me. And if I can, amongst my contemporaries, if I win, if I get the MVP, if I put up some good numbers, I'm okay with that. I'm gonna get the check, and that'll be enough. I get the big contract. Where our generations, it was about, we knew the money would come as long as we would play at our full potential. That all that stuff is going to come, but I'm focusing on winning. And just looking at that All-Star game, I mean, man, I almost wanted to draw tears, because I just never thought I'd see a day where we got that low. It wasn't just the look, it was the lack of energy and the lack of awareness to be like, I know we have to put on the show for the fans at least. The fact that they didn't it's like we didn't give a damn. Like, man, a show? What you mean? I'm just here to go ahead and practice these 3-pointers and jack them up, which that's today's NBA anyway. And maybe that's another thing. Maybe that we were looking for something, and we have to realize, if you give NBA players a chance to go ahead and freelance and just do it up, this is what we're going to get. Man, I always wanted to shoot that 3. Let me go ahead and jack it up. I'm going to continue. Like, you've seen it. They were jacking up 3s, and especially like, hey, if I can get to
game to
first
40,
to 40, right, a game to 40, like, let me go ahead and jack, 3-pointers to get you there faster. We're not playing defense, so.
That the mere fact that the NBA is essentially resorting to gimmicks to sell an All-Star game is telling enough. This new format is nothing more than that. It was, like you said, Chris, it was a drawn-out conclusion to what we already knew. Like, it was pretty much what it was going to be.
Low burn to a 3-point shooting contest.
Pretty much, man. And that, that's what we are.
A few more people than you normally would have had. But other than that, I agree.
And, if we don't ever remedy or find a remedy to the All-Star game, which we may never do that, at least we can figure out a way, well, we have in some sense, to remedy the dunk contest. And we've done that with Matt McClung. I do it the first 3 times. And this is the one thing I hate that LeBron never competed in.
Yep.
That was the one thing, like, he kind of robbed NBA fans of the ability to see LeBron James in the dunk contest. Like that, I would have loved to have seen that, whether he wins or not. Honestly, of the three, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, he's the only one's not competing or win a dunk contest. Not to say that's any kind of measuring stick or that, you know what I mean? You have to win that to be compared to Mike.
When you start stacking yourself against the greats, it's one of those accolades where it's like you never even tried.
Yeah.
So somebody's going to look at that and be like, yeah. And if anybody should have been, I mean, at the height of his, please. That would have been a show. Could you imagine if you had time? Because I mean, even at this age, he's still putting it down. But to have him and a Blake Griffin and a Dwight Howard, or some of the competitions he could have had, man,
it was just a lost opportunity. And even this this dunk contest, as entertaining as it was, at least for one contestant, like for Mac McClung, it was great. He did a wonderful job. He definitely entertained. He did his part. I can't knock him. But the fact that we're having again to go. And I don't want to say scrape the barrel, but I mean, you're talking about guys who don't even really make rosters. I'm not even sure if Mac McClung has been on the roster the entire year. Is he officially on the roster, or did they pull him up just in time to be in the dunk contest for the last 3 years? Because he's been the only shining.
That's a good question.
You know, like he really has been the only shining part of the dunk contest. So that's crazy in and of itself that the NBA stars are not contestants in the dunk contest at the very least. Like, your competitive nature should make you at least want to win that. You get a couple of them 3-point shooting contests, but like the dunk contest is like, can we get that? If nothing else, fellas, like, can you not fill us on that?
Yeah. Funny thing is, you got people like John Morant tweeting, man, this dude was going to make me want to come out and get in the dunk contest. So, like Zach LaVine, I might want to run about, okay, well, hey, bring it.
What are you waiting on?
Like, let's get everybody.
You know what? That used to be the one thing that you can count on, like, we knew, like, okay,
if nothing else,
game wasn't all that great, but that Saturday night, like, man, like I said, we wanted to make sure we were sitting in the seat to watch that. Now, literally, I watched it on YouTube after it was over. Like, oh, I forgot they had it. So, you know what? Let me ask you this, because I believe that it's not too late for LeBron. I think even at his age now, if you heard that he was going to enter the dunk contest next year, you know how many people. It would be a sight to see, regardless if he wins. No,
it's too late now. The interest ain't quite. I mean, it would be just for the sake of
I think it would be for because his name, I think he's still explosive enough that you see a 40-plus-year-old man still getting up there.
It would just be his name selling the dunk contest, because we would not be expecting that man to do
we wouldn't. And nobody's going to expect him to win or anything. But I'm saying is to bring the energy, to bring the fanfare and everything else that comes with it. I think that he could still pull. You imagine if, like I said, Ja, Zach, and you say LeBron. I'm telling you, they're going to come watch it. Think about this. Even if it's to see him fail and just look like he's an old man.
Changing of the guard.
Right. You imagine him just coming out, because think about it. What if he does it and wins? Because for some, he got enough pep in his step. He getting up there, and it's like, look at this dude. And
let's be honest, they'd be biased because the fact that he just came out. I mean, if you got guys like the KGs of the world sitting behind there, and it's like, there might have been a 48, it's a 50 tonight. Like I could totally.
Can you hear him? Can you see your boy Garnett? No, Lord. Lord. He 40 plus. Lord did it, Lord. Totally. Lord. LeBron's the greatest, Lord. He did it.
See?
That's what I'm saying. I think that it would just bring it. I would love to see it. I'm not going to even lie to you, because I think LeBron can still get up for his age. I don't expect him to do it every night.
But it would have been better to see him at his peak when he was young.
Obviously, we want to see him when he was young. LeBron, Now he's just in a winner of his career. That gray bearded with the Beijing, it's all up in his hair, looking fresh, just going up for a dunk, and it looks good.
The last real superstar caliber player, at least in personality, was Blake Griffin, who competed in dunk contest and won. And even though, the thing about Mac McClung that was so impressive is that he didn't do what Blake Griffin did. He didn't jump over the lowest part of the car. He went over the highest part of the car. I mean, he really got up.
Yes.
I mean, say what you want, but that they say white men can't jump. That one gets up. And what is he, about 6'2", 6'3"?
That was impressive.
Yeah, that was really impressive. Yeah. I mean, he has enough creativity. Like, he made it really entertaining.
And it was a burst. Like, it wasn't even a full on, let me look at I'm hopping over somebody.
Yeah. He didn't need a choir out and all
definitely
that.
earned the stripes on that one.
He definitely did.
Well, what you want. Another thing, do you mix in the G League dunkers?
At this
point,
allow
them to come? I think you should.
Robert, let's be honest. That's essentially what you're doing with Mac McClung.
Ooh,
yeah.
Well,
I'm not even being a dickhead. I'm just telling you, like, that's the truth. Like, that's just what it is.
What it is.
So let me ask you this: what they've been better to do this?
No, again, shout out to Stephen Castle. He did a pretty good, he did a decent job at trying to fend off the white boy getting this 3-peat, but it didn't work out.
I would have loved to see the G League All Stars play against the NBA All Stars to see how it goes.
Now
but it's like some type of mixture of it just to see. I need to see something to bring out the energy in him. I think
you'd be better off in like a dunk tournament where it's a single elimination where you've got G League on one side of the bracket versus NBA. You probably have a better chance there because at least with that, it's more about the skills, the athleticism, and creativity. Where that kind of goes across the league. A lot of them G League guys are just where it's like you are G League for a reason. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's like you couldn't take him off his spot. So to watch that actually go down would be like. Only thing is they probably be way more hungry because they're like, look, we're playing against the NBA also. So other than that, you might get a little something out of it, but
playing in front of a sold out crowd. You know what I mean?
Even if it was they earned a 10-day contract, the MVP or something. Let's just say we start off with the skills, the Saturdays, the scattered Saturday festivities. I think they should be able to all fully participate together in everything, and because they're hungry, so they're going to make everything competitive. They're not going to take it like, oh man, I'm just here. No, because I'm happy that we have this opportunity.
Well, they're auditioning.
Yeah.
Right. They're still trying to get called up. So that would be
to at least get the Saturday.
Even the skills challenge, really? Like we throwing a ball through a hoop, it's bounce passes. And don't get me wrong. I love a good fundamental, teach them, coach them and all that. But at the end of the day, it's like
scrap that. I ain't even
are we really watching you go through basically cones and all right, I'm gonna go make a layup as a 6'10"? Who cares? Like, stop. There's got to be something better.
They actually do this during halftime and breaks during actual games. They bring fans down to do that. Like, I don't want to see the pros doing it.
You know what? I think there has to be some type of culmination for the Saturday slam dunk contest. Not just G League, but we're in a time where we have the top entertainers through YouTube, dunkers and everything like that. That'd be a beautiful thing to bring all that in, because at the end of the day, we want to see great dunks. We want to see some energy. I think there's a way for the slam dunk contest.
To have that. Remember, you used to get a Terrell Owens and some of these guys who played basketball and would put on a pretty decent.
But no, I'm not talking about Terrell Owens or football. I'm talking about like these all-star. YouTube high flying, dunking out the gym 50-inch verticals with these wild, tricks. I would love to, because listen, it's just slam dunk. It's this. We're not talking about playing in the all-star game, but I would say somehow even having something for them, and then you have your 3 winners or 4 winners, however you want to categorize it, and then they compete out in the final. And that would, because listen, we just want to be entertained dunk wise.
Yeah, for sure.
If it come from the era up there, junior something from, out of whatever state that he got all the YouTube views and everybody he goes around, there has to be something that can kind of revitalize that Saturday. I think you start with the Saturday. Revitalize that, because there was a time, like I said, you couldn't get around. We knew Saturday was going to be somehow entertaining on a Saturday. Because Sunday was just that was just seeing the big dogs. Like you said, when you read off that list, that was just one year, but that's just how it. Those we're talking about. Then you start going to the bench players and getting to the reserves, you'd be like, man, them dudes
these are starters.
Yeah. Right. Still are all stars. They just weren't better than, the D Wades and the Mellos. But they were still, real all-stars in their own right that were real solid players. But I think Silver's going to, he's going to go back and he's going to analyze this and realize, like, there has to be something drastic. I don't know what it is,
Maybe Saturday night in the dunk contest will be the crescendo for the weekend. That's just what it'll be. You had an idea though, Robert. I think it'd be pretty fun. Never mind just the NBA, right? There was a time when, it wasn't a part of the All-Star weekend, but it would be real cool to see. I'm not sure if anybody remembers when they would bring like stars from baseball and football. I think the last one, it was like Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr.,
like the dunk contest,
Michael Irvin from the NFL, Deion Sanders. You had NFL, MLB players, and a dunk contest against NBA players. Like, that'd be pretty fun, because you got to remember, a lot of these guys are multi-sport athletes. These guys have played everything. A lot of these guys may have lettered in high school, may have gotten letters of intent, or even may have been recruited by teams, from other sports. Like, maybe I'm sure Deion Sanders, according to his claims, may have been recruited heavily from D1 schools for a basketball offer, right? So I'm sure across different sports, a lot of these athletes are, that they excel in more than one. So there's a chance. It would be fun to see. You do have some guys who play football who are basketball players and vice versa, some baseball players, that would be cool. That would be cool. I mean, at the very least, you get some big names, and that brings a draw to that. And if that's the height of the entire All-Star weekend, so be it. The game, maybe we can't fix that. That's just what it is. But, enough with the All-Star. There's not much more to be said about that we haven't already said, or that won't be said or hasn't been said. So with that being said, I want to get to Luka's debut as a Laker, man.
I was trying to check the numbers.
Luka's debut. So for those of you who aren't aware, his debut was against the Utah Jazz.
Which
pretty good showing in terms of his stats, at the very least.
It was okay, but you can tell he's still
for the limited time that he played,
still coming back from the injury. But it wasn't. Yeah. So the first two games, they were what I expected. But what it's very apparent that it's going to have to be it's going to be some adjustment playing with LeBron James, and we just don't know what that's going to look like, because I don't know the headspace LeBron James is in. And that's what worries me. Is he already starting to check out, because there is a true realization that this ain't your show, not at all. It didn't have to run nothing by you, because Luka, I think it may be an issue for him on how to play. I think he's trying to figure out LeBron, like, what should I do? And there was clearly a game, the second game that he came back, we needed him to be Luka, as far as like, you just go attack and shoot. And I think because LeBron's on the team, it hindered him in his movement and his action, things that he would just do without cause, as far as just attacking the rim, shooting the ball. He's always he's an excellent passer. So we know he's going to do that. But I think there were times where he was trying to say, okay, is it my time, or LeBron, do you want to do it? And I think that he was kind of indecisive in that in the second. It was clear in the second game when we needed him to be, more aggressive. So it's going to take some time. Luka's going to be Luka. I think everything's going to be fine. But boy, that defense, that lack thereof, oh goodness,
that's got to be addressed. That's got to be addressed. And you can't address it with Luka. Yeah, the scoring can only do so much. Yeah.
That's why I said this year's a wash. I don't know what second year is going to look like.
Hey, listen,
us not missing that big man. Oh, it's so apparent. Oh, yeah.
If the plan is to put up 140 a game, you might have a chance at going pretty deep in the playoffs, just on offense alone, right? Well, that team is talented enough to do so. Consistently, I don't know, but certainly in the playoffs, I won't say 140 in the playoffs.
So you think that's bucket for bucket, we have it? We have a chance?
What? You know why I say that? Possibly. Maybe they may be the team to kind of break the myth defense wins championships, because you always hear like, what is this saying? I can't remember exactly, like a good offense beats a better defense, some shit to that extent, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, like, how does that work in the macro? Like, can that work overall in terms of like team success? Can you win it all on offense? Can they be the first team to prove that offense can win championships if you have better offense than defense? Because it's not like you have defensive juggernauts in the NBA. Like, teams, like, they're not playing like this, like the Warriors were when they're winning championships. Like, these aren't that. In terms of IQ, in terms of the game planning, like these teams aren't that. You don't have Spurs teams out there that you're running up against, these defensive buzzsaws. So maybe I'm not saying it'll happen. It's not very likely at all. But
yeah, okay, that's what you.
It ain't likely. I'm just saying. But if there is a team, if LeBron and Luka can figure out whatever their their synergy and chemistry is, because mind you, Luke has only played he's on a minutes restriction. He's played no more than 24 minutes. I want to say in his debut against the Jazz on the 10th, he played 24 minutes, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, and he had some other stats. When he and LeBron, the best part about that game was not just his performance, it was the fact that when he and LeBron are on the court, they were like a plus 17 or something. Take LeBron out of the mix, that plus minus wasn't so hot. But when Luka and LeBron are on the court in terms of together, their plus minus is incredible. So,
well, we have 2 games that we should win. Yeah, quite easily. Yeah. That prepare us, because next Saturday is when we play the Nuggets, and that's when I want to see if Luka kind of got his feet underneath him and everything. But I think that's what they're trying to do: ease him in these next 2 games, because I think we play the Hornets and I think the Jazz again. We play the Trailblazers, the Hornets and the Trailblazers. So I think those are the warm-up games, and then we're going to unleash them. I'm pretty sure that when we play next Saturday against the Nuggets, that's going to be probably the most minutes he's probably going to have played as a Laker in a Laker uniform.
No doubt.
And it wouldn't shock me if he just unleashed him, LeBron, because we know, well, I'll say this, that'll be our only hope, because we have no big man. So that's going to be, you know what?
Well, you got Alex Lynn now. He might provide some.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not selling him as no.
See what I'm saying?
No world beater.
We're going to have to put up. We're going to have to put up 135, 140 to probably win that game, because I can see that game. It can go left so fast because we don't have defense, and we don't have AD, even though AD didn't fare as well. But if he didn't fare well, what do we expect our center now to do? So I expect, you know what?
The thing is, now you don't need a dynamic big. You don't need a dominant big.
You need a solid defensive big, at least, that can play defense and rebound.
Right.
But I'm talking about super solid, still be aggressive, but you're still playing against the Nuggets. That's still going to be a tall feat
and be a lob threat, of course, because you got LeBron and Luka. Yeah, you definitely want to be a lob threat.
I think LeBron's going to work it out. I think he's going to figure it out. But I keep hearing this thing like LeBron has to give it to him. Like, I don't like that. I don't
think Luka's listen, if he's anything we think he is, I don't think it'll require all of that. I think he has the gumption to go out and get it himself. He's not waiting for LeBron to invite him or to offer.
Well, no,
as
far as hand the team over to him, and I'm no. You can't listen. When you're trying to be a part or be the next guy up, I think that it would be a disservice, and it can't happen where a guy hands it to him. You have to take it.
Of course not. But that won't be the case.
You have to take it. And I think Luka will, because there's nothing stopping him.
Let's be honest, even if he doesn't, right now it's kind of his team. Like it hasn't shown, but LeBron is going to have to take a back seat. That's just what it is. Like
it ain't shown, but the writing's on the wall. Like,
no doubt.
Brian, it's over with. Like,
only a fool
whatever happens, if you can win with him now, we really want some of that old LeBron James, being responsible with your body and all that to rub off on them. That's what they really want. If they win now, if they don't win, they could care less, honestly. They already know what it is. They're like, hey, we just want to pick up some of these good habits from LeBron James. We want him to start working out with his body, start taking things a little bit more serious, and let some of that wisdom and IQ that we know that Luka has, but LeBron has a different level, being that he's won at the highest level and he's dominated for so long. He can kind of impart that wisdom and knowledge to Luka, and Luka the following year, as we build around him, will become an ascend to the next great, And
so essentially, we want LeBron to train his replacement. That's what I'm hearing. That's
ain't no look you're hearing. That's exactly what they. Come on now. You think they really have LeBron James on that team, and they didn't trade him because, they couldn't? They could have gotten assets, but they understand we're going to let LeBron James go off, which I don't think, I think that's what I'm wondering what's in LeBron's head, because if he's truly at a point where he's set and saying, hey, man, it is what it is, I'm not going to win any more championships, then he'll willingly do it. But if in his mind he thinks he can win championships, he's really setting up his exit right now. He may not be he may be like, hey, Luka, do what you know what I mean? Like that passive aggressiveness, like, hey, Luka, you already know what to do. Do you got it, bro. Like, hey, you got the guy. You said he's the man. You don't consult me with anything. Let him figure it out. We'll see if LeBron will be that. But I
don't
think
that's his attitude and disposition.
No, I don't think so either. But we just don't know in the sense of if he wasn't, because unless he's prepared and he's okay with not, which I just don't believe he's okay with not winning another championship. Because this is what the Lakers have said. Just because they grabbed Luka, they're saying we're not focused on winning a championship now. We're looking towards the future. We had that with you and AD. We thought that we could win with you and AD, and once we realized in our mind that we probably couldn't, it was time to move on. Because they didn't want to make any moves so that AD could play the 4 and we have another big. They could have made a move for somebody. They chose not to. They only wanted to do it after they traded AD for getting Luka.
Yeah, AD asked for some reinforcements and they shipped him out to Dallas.
Which means that in return they knew it. They knew the writing was on the wall. And I don't think LeBron James, it's going to come out at some point because there's no way you can tell me LeBron James took it that easy. I think he's just being, he's being the professional that he is, and he's just going to say all the right things. But you can't tell me a man of his caliber or his stature. Kobe wouldn't have gone for it. Kobe would have not gone for it. He wouldn't. There's no way. I understand Kobe has a different cachet with the Lakers, but nonetheless, they're still, all-time greats. They're still GOATs in their own right. And I don't think LeBron James is taking it well. It's just that I have to say the right things. That's always been what in my career, I've tried, at least try his best, to say the right things and to portray this, stand up, responsible, NBA player. I just think that what comes with that is for the first time, LeBron James, the whole world seeing it. Because I don't know if we've ever seen, you know what? I'm trying to think. I've never seen this before in the NBA of a guy of LeBron James' stature. That never happened with Jordan. Sure didn't happen with Kobe. Didn't happen with Magic. This is the first time that I've seen a guy at LeBron James' level being considered still the best in the league, them getting your replacement and not saying, eventually he replaced them. They showed you in so many ways, like, no, this begins now. This is the Luka era, not when you retire, because if this would have been Kobe, they would have got a guy that says, yeah, he's there to replace Kobe. Once Kobe retires, they're telling Luka, this is your team now. With LeBron James still playing at a level that he's playing at right now. You can't tell me that doesn't, because if a competitive person like LeBron, you couldn't tell me that doesn't have some type of effect on him. He may not be saying it, but I know it's affecting him. That's because, nobody's bigger than the game and the business side of it, but certain people you thought were immune to it when you get to that level. They, the Lakers, to me, that's telling in so many ways that you were never truly a Laker, because the Lakers are known for let me treat my superstars a certain way. Well, I won't say that, because besides Magic and Kobe, Shaq didn't get done that way. There was other guys who didn't get done that way. They didn't get that love. But for Kobe, maybe for LeBron James not to get it, that's and I think that we're going to find out a lot about Luka. Not this year. Let's let this year go by. It's the off season going into next year. The Lakers are going to make a decision if Luka, because I don't think Luka's going to want to leave, because opportunity where he's going to go. He can go anywhere, but to be a part of a franchise like the Lakers, we'll see if he wants to go ahead and take that challenge on and become the next Laker great. I just want to see, it's about his actions afterwards. You know what I mean? This year is a wash. I'm not tripping off of it. He's going to put up his numbers when he when he gets his full footing and it gets back into a playing shape. Excuse me, all the way. But it's next year in the off season. You'll know right then and there if LeBron James rubbed off. If you start hearing these, oh man, he's in the greatest shape of his career, stuff like that. I don't know, we're on to something.
I won't say this season is a wash, but I don't think.
Okay. So what are your real expectations?
The wash is, to me, never mind my expectations. When you say a wash, I'm thinking every team that doesn't make the playoffs, put out in the first round. You know what I mean?
We'll make it.
It just won't culminate in a championship. I mean, when you got guys like LeBron and Luka together, again, if they can find their stride and they can figure out how to play together, if JJ can figure out a way to figure out a scheme or something that works for them on a consistent basis and in the right lineup, ain't no telling, right? Sky's the limit. Let's be honest. When you got two superstars of their caliber, I mean, truly superstar caliber players, all world elite players, anything could happen. And as much as I loved AD, in terms of his ability to play on both ends of the floor, yeah, he gives you a whole lot more. But all around ability, not all around, but I should say at least ability as a scorer, it's Luka all day. They can figure it out.
Well, but I just don't.
So
think
to say it's a watch, I'm not willing to go that far.
But it's gonna go backwards because whatever happens this year, my expectations won't be that for next year because I don't know. I said this off. We had this conversation. A couple of days ago, just talking, and I said, as much as I love LeBron, it's messed up because for the Lakers, because he sustained his skill set and dominance for so long. It's unprecedented. No one's ever seen somebody play this long. So it makes it harder. Like, yeah, I understand it. Like, on one hand, we're saying it's over with. We're looking for, to go a different direction. And from the stats, you'd be like, what are you talking about? But we're looking at his age, we're approaching mid-40s. Like, bruh, come on now. It's time to change. And how long, they say LeBron James he thinks he can play another 3-4 years. Man, I'm sorry. Love you, Bron. But we can't hold on that much. We can't do that. Yeah, I can see now where he's at this point, I would say he's kind of like holding a franchise hostage in a sense. And unfortunately, there's a hard decision that was made. And you know what? After this season, may have to get made again. Because if I'm a Laker, because I can't pick up someone else. Do you try to give away LeBron for the open up salary cap and say, hey, where would you like to go to finish off your career? Because let's say he wants to play another 2 years. Luka would be 27. Do we want to waste any time? I mean, honestly, do you want to waste 2 years until LeBron James falls off and retires before we can continue on this rebuilding process? Because nothing can be around LeBron. He can't be a part of the rebuild. I don't think he can be a part of it. I don't think he can be a part of that process. He can't be on the team to fully do it the way you need to. And I know it sounds crazy. I'm a LeBron fan. I love LeBron. He's my GOAT, ultimately, for the last, I wouldn't say 2 generations, but when I think about it moving forward from a business perspective, because of his greatness is almost like a gift and a curse. Yes, you're averaging 20 plus points a game. You're still, effective and a factor, but you're in your 40s. And that's where it's, we know what you're doing, but you're 42, 43, brother. Like, I can't depend on that. I don't know. It's an odd place. And this is something that, the Lakers, no other organization has been in this. So this is like uncharted territory to have been in a place where you have, your best player also be your oldest in the damn league. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's an odd place to be in.
It's crazy.
Because you want to move forward, but it's like, you feel bad doing it. It's like, it's not like you're letting the old man down. Like, man, it was coming, man. You only here for name's sake. You only averaging 7 points a game. That's not even the case. You can't get up and down the court. He's still putting a show on. You know what I mean? And I think it wouldn't shock me if they had talks in the off season about like, hey, LeBron, you're going to have to help us out here. Let's just say they say, where would you like to go after this season? Because what you're going to see next year, I don't think they want to see what a LeBron and Luka look like next year. It doesn't matter because unless they feel like they can win it all, like, yeah, I'd rather start this process now and start getting some guys in and building and gelling with that young nucleus that we're going to have, presumably through the trade and draft. and move forward with it and move on from it. Because like I was saying, I just don't believe that even the Laker organization truly looked at him as a true Laker. So I don't think he's ever captured that, because it wouldn't have gone if they really thought that. They would have never done Kobe this way, because we know what Kobe meant to the Laker organization and to the city of Los Angeles. LeBron James hasn't captured that. There's a lot that.
Yeah, I think that the challenge LeBron has always faced is, one, you're not Kobe, you're not Magic, you're not these guys who played their entire careers in purple and gold. For even us, if you think about it, we watched Kobe come up in our hometown. We sat there and went through everything with him, from rise to fall to rise again. And I think when you have LeBron, who's gone from a couple of teams, come over, it's not going to be the same. But a lot of that, to me, though, falls on the organization. After that bubble championship, they should have done way more, considering where he's at in his career and how he's still producing. They have failed him in some regards. I think at this point for him, it's a matter of comfort. Family loves it here. It's great weather. It's business ventures and all those things. So I don't think he moves. I just think the Lakers were not in a place, not that they couldn't have been, just between Rob, between Jeannie, Ramby, whoever else you want to blame. But they just, to me, as a Laker fan, him and AD should have had another one before AD was out of here. In my opinion, up to this point, I think they could have had a few more opportunities. We could have done things a little bit better going back to Westbrook. And I know we've revisited, and I'm not going to get into all of that, but I do think there were just a couple of things that went off the rails that they just didn't have time to recover from. Luka brings up a very interesting point, because by all means, in every facet, Dallas is like, they've had to beef up security for their GM. Like, these people have put cast it, like they by all measurements, they are like, you messed this up.
Yeah.
This was some home cooking. This was some buddy. This was some buddy. Y'all did screwed us for years to come. Yeah. Y'all didn't even open it up to the league to where we could have got more. So there's a level of like, this is an inside job that they're not going to recover from. The question, though, is, do we actually benefit from it the way we're supposed to? And I think that still remains to be seen.
But that's why I was saying.
And what really stings, I can't reiterate this enough, man, is not only did I won't say they think Nico failed them, but you sabotaged us for the Lakers. Anybody else, maybe the Rockets, you can keep it in state. Send Luka somewhere else, but you can't send him to the Lakers like that.
And it didn't.
That's the ultimate shot to the heart, like that, to see that happen.
Yeah. But it didn't hurt either that AD got injured.
All their bigs got injured. So it doesn't help that you got a taste of what it could be in a half. And then you turn around and you lost him, you lost Gafford, you lost, everybody went down.
In dominant fashion, he showed you for a half, in a quarter. I'm sorry.
He was looking like
I'm
New
sure
Orleans
what I'm bring to the table,
you know?
And then you get injured, and then you a significant injury. It's going to take you, out for some significant time. So you see that, right? So that's why I'm just like, man, and I said that on the last pod. It's going to look like if this all fails with Nico, that bro, you did the homie hookup and mortgaged away our future just to hook your homie up because your ties.
Let's not take him out of that.
Well, not just with the Mavericks. We're talking about.
You'll never work in this town again. By this town, I mean all of them.
Yeah, your NBA man. Well, maybe would it be cold? Everybody gets done like that and try to go over to Rob and Rob be like, "Can't do nothing for you, mate." Like, hey, that's what it is. Like, you didn't have to make that trade. I didn't come to you. You came to me. You chose me, and that's why I say. Again, off season is going to be so telling because that's going to let me know the dedication that Luka has. If I don't see the dedication factor, the Lakers are going to see it too and be like, yeah, I don't know.
I think it's a blessing in disguise they got their pick back.
Yeah, not well, and not to mention,
I think
Chris,
you'll be able to maneuver and do a few more things with the guy, and even the rumblings was that he don't want to go back to Charlotte, so it'll be a buyout. You might get him on an open market.
Right.
Who knew?
That you talking? Could you imagine getting him on an open market after you just had a pick swap, a shooter, all of that, and you can't recover, and now it's like, now I'm going there for pennies to the dollar now on top of that after another trip, man.
How does one team
that almost be more interesting than the All-Star game was?
How does one team continue to get this damn lucky
the rich
all
get richer.
The time? Yeah, that's really what it is, man.
But and the Lakers in the driver's seat being that, guess what? We ain't on the hook for the Supermax right now. He got 3 years before he's eligible for that again. So we can still get him at a decent rate. See, and you'll know in them 3 years, like, yeah, brother, we don't see it. You're just gonna be a superstar, but you don't have the, we know we've been around greatness long enough to know, like, yeah, brother, you don't want it.
I think, you know what I mean? Catastrophic injury, they're gonna pay him one way or another, whether he produced next year or not, because the potential for what he can be is enough for this particular ownership group.
Well, they'll pay him, but they don't have to pay him. They can give him a 3-year contract because he's not even eligible for 3 years.
Yeah, he probably wants that. He wants to be able to get out and get that big money.
So for both parties, it'd be great. Lakers say, I'm gonna give you a 3, and they could try to, because he's obviously his agent won't even allow him to do a 4-year. They're just not gonna, like, nah, we're gonna do 3. And at the end of that 3, you already know what time it is, because that Supermax ain't no telling what it'd be for him then in 3 years. It'll be something. It'll be some ridiculous number. That's going to be like, obviously, it'll be some never seen before contract in NBA history. But I think that you're see, that's what it is. See, I think the league is scared because we're hitting uncharted territory. We're hitting baseball contract numbers. You know what I mean? And that's what worries them. Like, that's a large number to commit to.
I got to tell y'all, man. I wonder, like, how do they justify them numbers, and where do they really get that money from? Because it's baseball breaking it in like that on the low.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you giving dudes
$700 million.
Listen, literally,
maybe
$750 million to hit a ball. Now, granted, it's the hardest thing to do in professional sports, probably, other than maybe hitting a golf tee, right? Like that takes a level of concentration that I don't even understand. But a ball coming at you 100 miles per hour or more and having to hit that to get to base safely 3 out of 10 times, 30%. That is a pretty good success rate. Baseball, 30%. Yeah. Anywhere else, you out of a job. NBA, if you're shooting 30% from the field, free throw, like you're not playing in the league unless you're playing some great damn defense. If you were in the NFL and you only make 30% of your field goals, you would
have to be Dennis Rodman
30% of your passes, like that. Pretty much. And he probably didn't shoot that terrible. He didn't.
No, he did.
He didn't have many opportunities, but that kind of money is crazy. And I'm still like, how are they paying these contracts? Like, I know there are only a handful of teams who are seeing like sellouts and reaching record numbers every year, which is consistent, like the Dodgers.
I think jersey sales make a
You
big
think baseball jersey sales are hitting like
maybe
that?
Not baseball, but I mean, if you look at just what Bronny did with his $50 million in sales, just when he got drafted, I think there is money that's coming in, and I think what a lot of people are relying on now is that TV revenue. You get all these guys bidding against each other, and now this money is starting to flow in. It has always been weird to me, though, because it's like, if your valuation is at a couple billion, it's like you got a quarter of that to give to one guy,
to one dude,
in hopes that he's not injured and everything goes the way you think it's going to go. I'm like, yeah.
And baseball, listen, the Mets.
No, they print money.
And for Juan Soto, like, listen. Get your money, Playboy. I'm the last one to hate on you. Trust me when I tell you that. If you can get $1 billion, go out and get it. I ain't got nothing bad to say about it. But for Juan Soto, like three-quarter of $1 billion for Juan Soto. So you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, that's crazy. He's a good player, but I'm not sure. Almost again, $750 of $8 billion, which we know they're not really getting.
Exactly.
After Uncle Sam gets his cut, who's the biggest winner in all of this shit, honestly, it's the government. I, the R, and the S. Right. But yeah, man, we're headed towards that, and that only make it worse, because it seems the more money you put into the mix, it just waters the product down even more, man. That's just I don't know, man. It's just not. I don't have a great prognosis for the game in the future, but that is just that. That's the future, and in the future we'll have more shows for you. But this one's coming to an end because it's getting a little late. We got shit to do. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, real quick though, before we get up out of here, fellas, I wanted anything y'all on this week, man. Like any new podcasts, books, anything you want to put the people on to, anything you want to plug, anything you want to promo,
The words of ODB. Me? Nothing.
Legendary.
I'm just joking, but that was a rough week for me, so I just didn't quite get a chance to really check out new things. I've been just been real busy, but I'll have something. I have something for you guys. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. One thing you're gonna learn about Big Bear, nice. I'm not gonna fake it. I ain't gonna fake it. It ain't gonna happen. I don't have nothing for you, man. I wish I did, but it was a whole lot of boring usual like everybody else, a lot of hard work and rest, although I wish I could have gone to the show, the Dre Day with Battle Cat and everything, but once again, I was just, on the lighter side, TV in the garage is cracked, so I'll figure something out with that, but
Adulting, be adulting.
That's it. Pretty much. Sometimes it'd be just that way.
You only got time for the bare necessities. That is what it is. It just every now and again you might in your free time bump into something like, oh, this is cool. I can put somebody onto that. That's I might want to. At least in my case, I just wanted to really quickly this week. I wanted to look out for one of my homeboys, a friend of the show, who also is supportive of us and our endeavors, and I appreciate that greatly. The homie King Leo Picasso, aka London Brooks. I want y'all to go check out. For our wrestling fans, I mean, and he's really, I mean, this brother, he gets deep into it. Like I'm talking about it really. This is a wrestling head. His podcast or vlog of sorts, right? No Dirt Sheets on YouTube. Also NoDirtSheets.com. Check that out. He does a little he does a vlog. He's watching actual matches, playing games. It's he gets it in with the wrestling. I'll give him that. That's his passion, and my boy does his thing. Really good content for those who care about wrestling.
We're talking about like an in-depth perspective.
I'm talking about really in-depth perspective. Yeah.
Very nuanced in his approach to how he speaks to it. Yeah. So
can't
definitely passionate about
That's one thing we got to do with the platform is always remember that we are just one of many shows out there, but each one teach one, each one promote. I think anytime we can look at another group, somebody we know especially, or that one or more of us knows and has the ability to plug that, we're always going to do that. I think, Barry, same thing for me. It was just not really much going on. I found myself in Jasmine Sullivan music, just listening to riffs and runs and being amazed at just like, man, this is a voice, dog. Like I ran across something and was like, just went down a rabbit hole of YouTube videos and just really appreciating like the lows, the riffs, the rhymes. Like when you have a voice and a tool and you have a talent, I guess that's kind of just the moral of the story. When you lean into a talent, man, sometimes that's the most beautiful thing out there. So I guess for me, hey, if you got a talent out there that you need to explore, you need to nurture, you need to share, be sure to do it because not everybody has that. And that's one of the challenges I'm fighting through myself.
Yeah. Share it with the world.
It's just being able to, just plug that talent, pour into it because not everybody has it. So I say it for me, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's funny. Real quick.
Jasmine Sullivan Hotel.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about, man. That sister got a voice. Like, she got some pipes on her. But speaking of that, real quick, though, I don't know. I may have started a little bit of a melee on Instagram when I commented on a Janet Jackson.
It should be good.
Clip. And I haven't responded to anybody because I'm just not going back and forth on social media. It's just not happening. Like, you're not getting that kind of time from me. I'm just not doing it. So it was minor, like, to me at least. I just gave my little 2 cents. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Josh Bracey. He's the dude popularized and famous for that mashup of Janet Jackson's "Funny How Time Flies" and Michael Jackson's "Is Lady in My Life?" One of the two.
Yeah, Lady in My Life.
Yeah. And he's responsible for that. And a lot of those videos are set to nostalgic videos of the 90s. Obviously, it's apropos, funny how time flies, right? So she had a concert recently where she did his version of the song with the mashup, with the Michael Jackson song. And he was really proud about that. And for good reason, right? That Janet Jackson took the time out to acknowledge you and your creation and do your rendition of the song. And me not being mean-spirited, I have a love and appreciation for the Jackson family, especially Michael and Janet, the most talented Jacksons by far, by a country mile, right? I loved her since Penny, on Good Times, as a young bull. So I would never speak disparagingly of Janet Jackson just for kicks. That ain't where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So I just said, it's a short message, love Janet, but baby can't sing to save the universe. And it's that's kind of we all know that. That ain't even it's not a secret that she's not a powerhouse. You're not going to hear riffs and runs from her.
Powerhouse, I will give you, yes.
I mean, can she hold the note?
She's not a powerhouse.
Is she going to do some melodic whispering? Does she do enough to carry the track? No doubt her voice suits what she's singing. Sade's not you ain't got to be a great singer to make great music. So my point wasn't that. I'm just kind of it was a lighthearted joke. And people were, hey, man, they had your boy throat, man. They wasn't appreciating that one.
Man, you went after royalty on that one.
The black cats come after you.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was interesting.
Oh, I know which mashup you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny how tap don't you go nowhere.
That real, that was a bit of,
It's funny though, because people will cling to artists, I think the one thing with music, when we look back at it, we cling to the memories of the time sometimes far more than the actual songs themselves. I remember where we were when this happened. I remember He Who Cannot Be Mentioned, when that Trapped in the Closet series was coming out on 92.3 The Beat and all of this stuff, and we run into the radio and it was a time. And I think a lot of times the music captures the times and the nostalgia of the moment. You talk about an Aaron Hall, I Miss You, and some of the other stuff that we used to listen to. We can go back and there are memories tied to that stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you look at especially female artists, it's not too many of them that just come to the forefront of your mind when you talk about voices. What Kendrick has done with bringing Luther into the fold for some people who have no clue, and you listen to that man's voice and it's that is a voice.
Yeah.
Not everybody is that, but
and I acknowledge that that's cool. Again, you don't have to be a great singer to make great music. You don't have to be a great rapper to make good rap music. One of my favorite rappers is Dom Kennedy. By no stretch would anybody call him the greatest lyricist to ever live, but I enjoy his music nonetheless. But same with Janet. She's kind of she's comparable in that sense, where she's not a great singer, great performer, great talent, but am I gonna pay to hear her sing? Nah, ain't gonna happen.
Right.
Ain't gonna
happen. We didn't pay, but we still have memories to it.
Some of y'all
LA folks remember
Rhythm Nation is never gonna. That's always gonna be
Janet Jackson.
Come on, we ain't talking bad about it. She got
Janet Jackson and them couple skating at that World on Wheels. Yeah, stuff like that. Because, like I said, nostalgia and it plays. Yeah, but as me saying that she can sing, she's singing.
Well, when you talk about an art, I mean, if you put them up, Jasmine Sullivan and Janet Jackson.
Come on now.
Not in the same realm.
Come on, dog.
But an iconic, as far as that, yes. She's iconic.
Impact on music.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, we could talk about that.
Yeah. One of the biggest stars of the 80s, no doubt. And the 90s as well.
Legend in her own right. Been to a couple concerts. That was me and my cousin's thing. And I'm a huge Janet fan, but I get it. I totally get it. It's
oh yeah, you in trouble. I don't know what they call the Janet fans. We have the Beehive, but I don't know if we have the cat layer or something.
I don't know what it is.
Oh, know what it is. Yeah. The black cats.
I get so lonely and running up around.
Break it down.
Oh, she definitely got some memorable songs. We Go Deep was the joint back in the day. I can't even lie about that one. Yeah.
Where are you now?
Yeah. But
buddy, they coming after you. Yeah,
we got you.
They have my neck.
That ain't worked. Where everybody's
I'm unfazed. I'm not about to get into no social media beefs. Plus, my face is on there. People might catch me out in public. You just never know. So you got to be real careful with the beef you start online. You just never know who you're talking to. But
you were saying, what was that?
You know,
how dare you?
Catch you in line at a Chick-fil-A and that'd be
right.
Flash before your eyes, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, that was just that's all that's going on with me. And I guess shoot, man, with that, that's my only real adventure, you know.
Yeah.
And we pretty much hit. Again, follow us, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, please and thank you.
Check me out. Check us out.
Yeah,
check out
on our website. We
down with.
Yeah. Check out all of our affiliates.
Support the pod. Support the efforts.
Pod. Yeah.
Drop a coin. Yeah.
Download. Share with your friends where you get all your podcasts, the Apples, the YouTubes of the world, the Spotify. So go check us out. Again, like, comment, subscribe. I can't say it enough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Check us out.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you.
Till next week.
Yeah. I'll come back now.
Peace.